As leaders with vision, we have ideas. Sometimes we have lots of them. We want to show you a tool that will help you maximize your best ideas. The process includes getting significant input and contribution from people you trust. It's called Six Thinking Hats. Maybe you're familiar with it. The power of the process is that everyone contributing commits to thinking about your idea in specific ways and then giving you feedback. So here's the function of the hats and the meaning of the different colors. It's kind of fun.
Well, the genius in this tool is that when you have a group of people sitting there, there are some who right away are excited about ideas and love it. And then there are others who tend to think of the problems and they seem or feel like they're negative. And then there's people who really want to think about the steps of the process. And
Yeah.
it can make the conversation really hard. And what is brilliant about the six hats thinking is that it gives an opportunity for each conversation to happen, and they're all legitimatized. So
Right.
if you will use this tool, you'll get better communication, you'll get everybody speaking, and you keep it down in its time. This is a brilliant tool,
Right.
very good for group processing. So the order of the hats is important because you don't want to start off with negative stuff. So we start with a yellow hat, and that's the benefits. So you say to the whole group, okay, for the next 4 or 5 minutes, all we're going to talk about is the benefits. Hold all your other thoughts, but just speak benefits. Yellow is sunny and positive. We want you to think about all the good things about this idea. The next hat to put on is the black hat. And this allows the people who naturally have a bit of a negative or concerns about your idea to be able to speak it and not be labeled as negative, because we're saying everybody puts on the black hat. And we want you for the next 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to talk about the potential pitfalls or the weaknesses, the reasons to be cautious or careful. Then the next hat is the white hat, where you say, white is like information is neutral. What are some missing facts here? What's some data research that we need to help us to be able to get a better picture? This is where you can wonder and you can seek for more ideas. Then there's the blue hat. And this is where blue representing cool and distance and implementation. Um, what are the steps you'd have to take to implement this idea? And this is where those who are practical about it, now they get to say their piece. Then there's the green hat you put on. This is where we're being more creative again. Maybe there's another idea or a tweaking to the idea that's come up through all of this that people want to be able to suggest. Well, what about this? And then the last hat you put up, but when you got to put up, is the red hat representing emotions. At the end of all the discussion, you ask people, how do you feel about this? What's your gut feeling on it? And here's the wisdom of putting the emotional one at the last, is that you're informing the emotions before they speak to them. Because sometimes people will come to your idea, they've already got a negative thought in their head, and they're all riled up about this. And if you ask them right off the bat, well, hey, why does everybody think about my idea? Out comes their negative. But after they have heard all the rest of the people talking and all the good ideas and steps and processes, they kind of go, actually, I might be a little cautious, but I'm okay with this. And they might change their feelings because of all the information. So, wonderful tool, really good to help a group process an idea thoroughly.
Mm-hmm. It sounds brilliant, and it is. And it's a lot of fun too, actually. You can actually have fun with this. Here's how the six hats process works. So people are divided into groups of 3 or 5, and each group selects a note taker. Okay. So then the leader explains this whole process and takes about 15 minutes to share the idea. Okay, here's the idea I'm thinking of, and I want you guys to give me feedback on it. So then each group has 3 minutes, 4 minutes to think through the idea according to the appropriate hat, just as Dan outlined them. you think according to that hat. So the first one is positive and yellow. So 3 minutes. What's positive about this idea, even though you just heard it? What's your positive reaction? Each group will wear the same hat at the same time for 3 minutes. Then you move on to the next hat. At the end of the 3 minutes, maybe there's a bell or a dong, or the facilitator makes an announcement, and each group will switch to the next hat. Once all the hats have been used, the leader asks for the verbal input from each group, one hat at a time. It's not everything that they wrote down, but probably the note taker just says, well, here's some keys of what we thought in this way, according to this hat. After all the feedback is shared and there's some verbal communication of that, the notes from the group, from each group, is given to the leader or the person who shared the idea. That way, they've heard it, and now they have it right in front of them as well, all the notes that were taken. So it's a brilliant idea, lots of input in a short amount of time.
And the brilliance of this is that it, especially by breaking them into small groups and defining the conversation, everybody talks. Everybody gives their input. And we make the rule, you have to contribute to every hat.
Right.
And you can't cross hats. You can't all of a sudden bring up a negative in the middle of a positive. And you don't evaluate. So these are ways that we allow more people to speak, but it keeps the time short. If you're finding 6 hats too many, you can go with 4 hats. And that would be yellow, black, blue, and red. So you can shorten it up if you need to, but 6 is really thorough. So next video is going to be about wrapping up course number 5. And we look forward to seeing you there.